righty. I sounds like there's Stephanie. Stephanie says, "Good morning, good morning, Stephanie."
Good morning.
There we go. So I did share the questions with both of you. I do want to just be open and transparent and say for folks listening that I did endorse Dana. Dana did not come up with these questions. I haven't talked to Dana. I don't talk to anybody because I'm always just like super busy. But these questions were created from the work that we see at the Progress Center for Black Women. And they're most important for the work that we do. So I just want to be transparent that I've endorsed Dana, but these questions were not curated with her. She doesn't know. I also emailed both of them the questions at the same time, which was late, days after I was supposed to send them. So that's that. So we'll do some quick intros, and then I just want to make sure we use the bulk of our time for the questions. And so we'll just start. Jasmine and I will introduce ourselves, what the Progress Center does, and then we'll just go back and forth between Dana and Melissa starting. I have a handy dandy timer. I did put some minutes on the questions for you both, and I'll also read those questions. Jasmine will manage the chat. So Jasmine, just look for questions or comments that may come over on Facebook or LinkedIn. I also added the overlay so they'll just show in the chat as well. Okay. All right. So I am Sabrina Madison, the founder of the Progress Center for Black Women. We're located on the square at 30 West Mifflin Street. Sometimes folks still call it 30 on the square. I don't. Sounds very Saturday Night Live-ish, which I do love. Our work focuses professional development, entrepreneurship, and financial health. We have a dope and beautiful co-working space, actually award-winning co-working space at that 30 West Mifflin Street address. So Jasmine, if you want to do a quick intro on yourself and tell us what you just won.
Hey everyone, I am Jasmine Appleton. I am the Chief Director of Entrepreneurial Growth and Innovation at the Progress Center for Black Women. I manage our Focus Accelerator, which is our entrepreneurial training program, and then overall just support Black entrepreneurs in our network and get them the resources they need. I did recently win one of the 2024 Amy Award Honoree Awards, so I'm excited to share that as well. But I'm excited to also have this discussion and get our questions answered for entrepreneurs that we're serving.
Yay. All right, so we'll start with Dana, then Melissa, and then we just go back and forth. All right, Dana, you want to introduce yourself?
Are we doing question number one?
No, just generic intro first.
My name is Dana Pellebon. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am running for Dane County Executive.
Perfect. Melissa?
Hey all, my name is Melissa Agard and I am currently a state senator. I have served in the legislature for 12 years. I've owned and managed a business with my dad for many years in town, and am thrilled to be here to have this conversation.
Yay.
And I'm sorry, it looks very much like I'm parked, but my camera won't work because I'm on my tiny little phone. So I apologize, folks, that there are no
worries.
Can't get the camera.
I tagged both of y'all social media here and there. So folks, hopefully they know how to find y'all yet. Well, actually, let's do that first. Dana, then Melissa, if you want to tell folks how to learn more about you, because, I'm drinking half calf this morning, so I may forget to circle back to that.
So I can be found on my campaign page at www.danafordane.com.
Melissa?
And I have a website. It's melissaagard.com, melissaagard.com, and also on Facebook and Instagram.
Yay. All right. So we are going to start with our questions. And for anybody who's listening, Stephanie, I see you there. Feel free to add any other questions in the chat, either on LinkedIn or Facebook, and we'll look for them. All right. So first question, we'll start with Melissa, then Dana. In 2 minutes, tell us about yourself. Family, work life. What does an average weekend in Madison look like for you when you're not running for office? And when you start talking, I will hit the timer.
Yeah. So I look forward to finding myself again after this campaign, Dana. I think we're both looking forward to that. It's been a long haul. I don't know when the last time I had a weekend for myself was, but I'm a single mom. I've got 4 boys, and really, I love being able to hang out with them when given the opportunity. They're getting big, and certainly prefer their own time when they can do that and hang out with their buddies. But I also have a dog, Libby, and we love going to the dog parks, hanging out outside, taking walks on the paths and trails. I have a garden. I love gardening, getting my hands in the dirt. Um, is a real grounding experience. Cooking, feeding people who I love is something that I very much enjoy. And when given the opportunity to read a book or to knit, that's something that I do to quiet my brain.
Thank you. Dana, same question. Tell us about yourself, family, work life, and what does an average weekend in Madison look like for you when you're not running for office?
Yeah, so my family, I live in Fitchburg with my partner and my stepson. I have another stepson that lives in a house in Cambridge. My son is at UW Milwaukee. We have a couple of dogs, so we do a lot of walking of the dogs. I love going to markets. If there is a market or a festival, especially with vendors, you will see me there. I go to brunch. Brunch is my favorite meal of the week. I do a lot of concerts, a lot of theater. The arts and entertainment scene here is really phenomenal. So I hang out with my friends. I do a lot of planning on the weekends. That is where I do a lot of my extra work. So I do accounting for a couple of businesses and um, yeah, pretty much whatever it is that I can get into that weekend to offer myself a space to have some fun, that's what I do on the weekends.
I love it. I love it. I also my weekends just look like work and my granny and work. Okay, so this next question we will start with Dana. Tell us which black-owned businesses you've shopped at or dined at lately in 2 minutes or less.
So of course, queen peas, earrings, like that's almost an addiction at this point in life. Anytime I see that, and let's be, I go to Sisters Chicken and Fish, Cafe Coda. There are so many places as far as buying. Um, One of the things that I make sure that I do if I go to a festival and there are black owned businesses, I buy something from every person at that festival. I get a lot of my hair care product at those spaces because those are really great spaces for me to pick up hair care products that I can't find in other spaces. And I wish I could remember the name of the lady, but she changed her hair bonnet because it kept slipping. And so being able to have resources to be able to do the things that I need to do for myself and have makeup that looks like me. There's a young lady that I buy makeup from um, who makes sure that there are shades that match my tone very specifically and exactly. My partner's just found Just Veggies. That has been like his thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because he's very much a vegetarian. Yeah, no, we have it's hard to remember all of the names because it's incorporated into every part of whenever it is I go spaces and I see a black owned business, I buy something. That is just rote and routine is what I do.
Gotcha. Thank you. Melissa, same question under 2 minutes. Tell us which black-owned businesses you shopped at or dined at lately.
Yeah, so something about me is I love food. I love eating, and I think that our community here is one of the best places to be able to have access to locally sourced and cooked food. Marie's Soul Food, Kip's Chicken. Um, uh, I love being able to go to Africa Fest and taste my way through McPike Field, eating the delicious food at that festival. And very much like Dana, being able to pop into spaces where there's pop up venues with tables full of amazing things that people are making to sell in our community is one of my very favorite things. There was a event last year in Sun Prairie put together by Waiting to Exhale Events, and I bought a whole bunch of skincare there too, Dana, and am running out and need to chase this lady down in order to get access to that again. When my dad passed away, it was very important to us that we work with people within the community that are of the community for his burial, and we used foster funeral homes for that. And in my home, looking for people to help out around the yard or home repairs, tow trucks. I always will be looking for local businesses and minority owned businesses. Call out to Jackson's Yard Care for showing up when there was a tree on my roof in one of the most recent big storms that we had. So, sometimes it may take a little bit more to be able to find the locally owned businesses because they don't have the money to pop themselves to the top of your Google. But it is so very important that we lift up our local folks and really lean into communities that don't typically have the ability to buy the billboards because ultimately you never know what they're going to grow
Okay.
into to be the next epic.
That is your time. But you're right. Yes, folks do have minimal budgets to really get out there. Okay, next question. We'll start with Melissa, then Dana. So, which book are you currently reading or last read?
So, there's a lot of reading going on, but not a huge number of books. But I will say that I was at Pride Fest this summer at Warner Park, and the Madison Reading Project was there, which I love the fact that they're all over our community. And there was a book there called Melissa by Alex Gino, and the folks at the Madison Reading Project were like, "Yeah, I need to take this book." And it's a lovely book about a elementary school child named George, who is finding their own voice and their own path. And it's really about knowing what your dreams are and holding on to them and being resilient and gritty. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm about halfway through, but I'm loving it so far, and look forward to the next easy read as we continue to move through this campaign cycle.
Thanks, Melissa. Dana, so what are you currently reading or last read?
So I have 3 books I'm currently reading. The first one is Pleasure Activism by Adrienne Marie Brown. So I did some pleasure activism research work with Dr. Sammy Schock this summer and have really been leaning into pleasure as a movement work and movement piece. And Adrienne wrote this amazing book. And I even have a keychain. One of my staff gave me a keychain of Adrienne's book. It's really quite amazing. I have, so there's 2 fantasy books I'm reading. So a friend of mine, Pat Rothfuss, is an author. And he gave me his King Killer Chronicles. And they're so thick. They're so big. And I've not had any time to read them. But I told him that I would be reading at least a chapter a week in between all the things that I'm doing. And then when I just went out of town, one of the things I do is I pick up books to read when I'm on the airplane. And then I actually couldn't read on the airplane. So I just have been reading it at home. And that is Stephen King's new book, Holly. I love Stephen King. I love horror mystery books. Those are some of the fun things I like to read.
Thanks, Dana. And it looks like the chat might be, or the feed might be breaking up quite a bit. So my apologies, y'all. I haven't used Restream since COVID. So hopefully what I'll do is I'll download this so folks can come back and not, it's not too sketchy for you. But please bear with us. All right. So question number 4, we'll start first Dana and then Melissa. In 3 minutes or less, I don't think a lot of folks understand how economic development work outside of the city of Madison. Like, I think they oftentimes just think the city of Madison, especially for folks in Madison. And even for our entrepreneurs, they often don't know until we may share them what's available for folks or what does economic development look like in the rest of the county. So starting with Dana, what role does the county executive play in economic development in Dane County?
So, huge roles. We do a lot of technical support for folks. We do have small business loans that are available to folks. That we have our revolving loan, and we have our micro business loan, and those are for folks outside of the city of Madison to be able to get capital funds and to get operating funds. We do a lot of work with MadRep, which is a regional economic development, and we manage a lot of the pass-through funds for the government. So we will get funds for our loan base and then administer grants, administer technical assistance for those grants, and essentially connecting what is happening regionally between business owners, entrepreneurs. We play kind of an overview role versus the municipalities that dig deep into more specific types of loans.
All righty. Thank you, Dana. Melissa, what role does the county executive play in economic development in Dane County?
Yeah, but Dane County, we know it's the economic engine of the state of Wisconsin. And we have absolutely need to be a community that honors the local business community as well as tourism in order to make sure that our economy is doing well. Dane County does receive a half of a percent sales tax in Dane County. So when people are spending money here, certainly it helps support our budget, which allows us to reinvigorate community members. And I know very strongly that when we are that economic hub for the region, that we need to be honoring our partners across Dane County, whether it's the county board as they're putting their priorities together, the philanthropic community, as well as the business community. When the three Ps are working together, we do an awful lot better. So investing in workforce development initiatives and solutions, making sure that we have childcare opportunities so people can go to work, looking at how we can overcome barriers to transportation and housing costs so that when people work, they're able to reinvest in themselves as opposed to have the majority of their income going into housing or not being able to have access to housing. Authentic partnerships with mayors, local elected officials, organizations like WIBIC, the Chambers of Commerce, MadRap. We all need to be linking arms, working very closely together to make sure that we are investing in our new and emerging businesses in our main streets, our local folks, because they are hiring our local people. And more often than not, there's a higher moral frame for how it is that those employers treat their employees, and those employees have more success and happiness in the jobs that they're doing. When I was growing up, State Street was a street full of local businesses, and it went through some transitions where it really turned into big box stores. And it's exciting to see our local businesses really thriving on main streets across Dane County. And it's vitally important that we continue to prioritize that.
Thank you. So we will start with where we at, number 5. We'll start Melissa, then Dana. So what is, if you know, the current budget for the micro enterprise business loan program? How would you work to increase this budget? And even I think equally important is increase awareness about this program.
Yeah, so this is great. I mean, this is an example. There are so many programs like the micro enterprise business loan program that are out there. But it's like bumping around in a dark room trying to be able to find access to them. If you have a dream or an idea to start a business, and you need that assistance, we need more direct portals and direct paths to be able to find opportunities like this. So the micro enterprise business loan program, my understanding, was started with CDBG monies. I always get the D and the B flipped when I say that, so I had to go authentically slow there. And the county is not currently appropriating money into it, as I could tell. It's a pot of money that as people use it, they pay back into it. And every once in a while, there are loans forgiven, but that is there. Um, it is clear that not a lot of attention has been paid to this, and I think it is vitally important that we do relaunch it and make sure that it gets advertised more so more people are using it. It really did take a backseat during COVID. And I think that there are real opportunities with the Black Business Hub to engage with people in our community, to guide a relaunch, and to make sure that it's getting the support that it needs to reach the new business owners, the emerging businesses within our communities. And now's a good time as ever to do that.
Thank you, Dana. What is the current budget for the micro enterprise business loan program? How would you work to increase its budget and increase awareness of this program in 3 minutes or less?
So, what Melissa said is correct. Finding the actual number of what it is that is in the budget. So, if I'm looking at our business loan budgets, we're looking at about a $42,000 budget. Some of that is contract services, though, and some of that is operational services. And then we have about, looks like $10,000 in our additional contract services. So, you're right. We haven't put more money into this. And actually, if you look at our 2022 to 2023, it actually went down. So this is an area that we can definitely invest some funds in. And the way that we let people know is that we connect with organizations like the Progress Center for Black Women that do that type of work. So, reminding ourselves that when we do contracting, we are contracting with people in the community to carry out some of the work of the county. And that's an important space for programs that work with small businesses across our county. And so specifically for Black women, ensuring that we're investing in organizations that are doing the work to help Black women become entrepreneurs, and giving technical assistance as we can in the CDBG office. And when we start going through our contracts, because I want to start going through our contracts, and CDBG is actually underneath the human services budget, is being able to make sure that the work that is being done to help small business owners, and especially Black women, Black-owned businesses, is being carried out. And if it is not, then talking about what it is that they need in order to make that work happen. And whether that's hooking in with organizations that are already doing the work, or providing more funding so that we can make sure that there are adequate marketing plans around these business loans, because we don't really talk very much about them at all. So even a basic highlighting of what it is that we do have available and why, and how you can apply for it, and who it is that you can go to for technical assistance, how to connect with the Small Business Loan Association. I mean, so there's a lot of behind the scenes work that we can do on the county end.
Thank you, Dana. So we're going to take a little progress break, and I'm going to ask Jasmine to share some facts, because both of your answers kind of led me into thinking about how much work we probably need to do a better job of sharing how much we do. But sometimes you're just so busy doing the work, you don't have time to talk about it. So Jasmine, how many workshops have you had since Focus launched?
We have had successfully 55
And
workshops.
how many entrepreneurs have participated in at least one workshop since?
We've had about 102 entrepreneurs take at least one of the focus
Perfect.
workshops.
And then there are folks like, for example, Stephanie at Queen Peace Throne, probably folks like Keena. But if you had to estimate, how many folks have completed at minimum 5 of those workshops?
I would say about a good 40 to 50 entrepreneurs out of that 100 have taken at least 5 or
And
6
one thing
workshops
I
or
want to say
more.
about the workshops, every single workshop there is a takeaway. So you're not just coming, you're not just sitting on Zoom, you're not just looking at PowerPoint slides. Probably the best example of that is also, I'll just go back to Stephanie since she joined us this morning, where Stephanie, she's growing, y'all. She's doing really well. And we're always encouraging them to take the next step, get past your fear, take the next step. And she wants to see her stuff also in stores, on shelves. You know, she wants to partner in different ways. And so she attended one of our legal workshops where we partnered with the Law and Entrepreneurship Clinic to create her contract. So that went well. She came back most recently for an updated workshop. I think she got, I don't know if it was no, it was a new contract for getting her stuff in stores. Was that it, Jasmine? Yeah. So she went from just her regular,
Yep.
her business contract to sort of like elevating the contract that she started with. So each one of our workshops, there are tasks associated. So you don't just come and kick it and chill and take pictures and be cute. You can be cute and take pictures and do all of that, but you will leave with something done. Period. Period. Poo. Okay. All right. So back from that. So our next question, we will start with Dana and then Melissa. And for folks who still with us, feel free definitely to drop a question on LinkedIn or Facebook. But this question right here always annoys me so badly for years because it has not changed much. But here's the question. In under 3 minutes, Black women are one of the leading groups of people who start new businesses. However, we receive the least amount of funding. How do you plan to increase funding opportunities for businesses started by Black women, especially?
So again, reminding ourselves what it is that the county can do and what it is that we don't do. So one of the things we can do is invest in the loan programs that we have. So adding more money to that, adding more technical assistance so that folks can actually do that work, ensuring that spaces like the Progress Center, Madison Black Chamber of Commerce, have the adequate funding and technical assistance that they need. So connecting with them to talk about what their needs are and can any of the current grants or contracts that we have fit what needs that your agencies do, because you all do a lot of that technical assistance. We do a lot of referrals out for that type of work. And again, being in the community with Black women to let them know what is available in their community. So part of the reason why you are not seeing opportunities is that we are not telling Black women where it is that they need to go, what banks they need to work with, what organizations can help them fill out the information, give the technical assistance. So really making sure that the people in our community know where our resources are being spent and how to access those resources. Um, you know, are there spaces where we might be able to develop something new? Absolutely. That is something that we can absolutely look into. And where is the and then where the funding would come from that, if that is something where we can look to our federal government, state, about how we can access different pots of funds for more loans. So that's really an unexplored area here in our county government. We've not focused on that. And we haven't focused a lot on what is happening with small businesses. We leave a lot of that to municipalities.
Whew. Okay, Melissa, in 3 minutes or less. So, Black women are one of the leading groups of people who start new businesses. However, we receive the least amount of funding. How do you plan to increase funding opportunities for businesses, especially started by Black women?
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It is clear that there are real hurdles for Black women and women minority-owned businesses to be able to move forward. And we need to make sure that we are turning all of the rocks over to ensure that there are opportunities for Black women and minority women-owned businesses across our region and here in Dane County. I think we have some amazing examples out there. The work that you do, Sabrina, at the Progress Center for Black Women. We've got WIBIC, we've got the Black Chamber, which is led by an amazing Black women. We have the Black Men's Coalition of Dane County that is committed to supporting all folks. The Black Business Hub that the county is invested in, that's doing amazing work. Relationships with chambers and groups like MadRep. A lot of philanthropy in Dane County, state and federal programs like the SBA and WEDC and the Diverse Business Grant Program and Starting Block, the City of Madison's Minority Business Entrepreneur Program, mentorship opportunities. To me, it's really clear that we need a hub, a one-stop shop for small businesses to be able to, and entrepreneurs to be able to access, so that they're not having to bump around and not know where to find this stuff and have it fall into their laps. We have so many amazing resources out there, but finding them is the real challenge. We know that local governments across Wisconsin and right here are really struggling with the referendums that are on the ballot. Budgets are tight, and people are going to even be disappointed with the county budget. I am confident of that. So we need to be advocating for money from our state and federal partners, and removing barriers for people to have access to that, so that Dane County can invest more in opportunities to remove these barriers, as well as elevating many of the programs that are being put together by outside resources that I listed there. We do better when our small businesses and entrepreneurs thrive, and we know we do better when women do better. We all do better as well. Making sure that those paths are easier to untangle and move through, so that people can live their lives as well as start their businesses, is vitally important.
Thank you. All righty. So our next question, we'll start with Melissa and then Dana. So, as you know, housing costs are wild. I do want to just share, sometimes on our end, housing costs are so high that the entrepreneurs that we work with, sometimes they just can't even afford a fee to take part in a local event. So we may have to work with them to negotiate fees, at whomever is hosting, an event, for example. So our question is, what are your proposed solutions to increase affordable housing in the county? Because as you know, housing costs are at a crisis point for many Black households in 3 minutes or less.
Yeah, well, if we could solve this problem in 3 minutes, we wouldn't be here having the conversation, right? But we'll give some high levels. I mean, it's clear, I think all of us on this call know that housing is a vital human right, and we need to prioritize addressing the housing needs of vulnerable people in our communities and ensuring that all folks have that safe, fixed place. If you don't have that safe house, you're not going to be able to roll up your sleeves and start your business and be a successful entrepreneur. And I have a long and robust track record of being an outspoken champion and advocate for addressing housing needs. I think it is wonderful that Dane County has started working on and convening people through the Dane County Regional Housing Strategy, in working with our municipal leaders to reconsider zoning ordinances and providing more housing. We know 7,000 more units. We've all been talking about that for the next 5 years, and the potential of having 1 million folks here in Dane County by 2050. Right, we cannot take our foot off the gas pedal there. We know that having housing for people that are under 30% of the poverty level is super important. We need to make sure that we have multi-bedroom housing, so that if someone has children or they want to start a business in their house and be able to eventually move out of that, that they have space to be able to do that. And having more peer support and navigators who are directly tied to the community to help people find the housing needs, and to remove barriers to housing is very important. I think we can look at opportunities and examples like the Bayview Complex in Madison, on how it is that we came together with the city, the county, the state, the federal government, and really brought all those voices together to make sure that we had something that people are excited about, that is meeting the needs of poor folks within our community and giving them that leg up. in addition, I think if we're talking about housing, we also need to talk about location and access to childcare, so that people are able to start their businesses and their kids are being able to take care of, transportation to and from your vendors, and so that your clients can be able to find you. As you said, Sabrina, being able to remove barriers to access to fairs for people to be able to introduce their products and services to the community, making sure that people have access to recreation and food as well. And we have some really amazing examples in our community. The Own It project is an example, very innovative program that is helping people to build wealth and educate themselves, and then also move forward to becoming a homeowner, not just someone who lives in an apartment, if that is the dream that they have. So clearly, when we roll up our sleeves, we're able to do good things, but we do need to address the housing crisis. Everyone is talking about that, and it's going to continue to be a challenge.
All right. Thank you, Melissa. Dana, same question. What are your proposed solutions to increase affordable housing in the county? Because as you know, housing costs are at a crisis point for many Black households.
So let's talk about the realistic way that we can actually increase housing. So we can put money into the Affordable Housing Fund. That is something that the county specifically can do so that developers can access that money to supplement what it is that they need to build housing. We do have a housing plan, but a good portion of that plan is what the municipalities can do and how it is that we can talk to them about that work. Now, one of the things that's in that plan that I would like to invest in is increasing some monies going to our TIF and TID districts to encourage development in those spaces. And that is something very specifically the county can do. One of the other things that I want to do is regionalize our housing navigation program. So we have one housing navigation space here that is funded by the county, and that is at the Beacon. Not everybody can access that program. And when you look at programs like the Sunshine Place that employ a variety of services with that housing navigation and the investments of the community, people are able to move through those spaces a little bit easier. So decentralizing the one and making sure that people have many access points around our county to be able to connect on how to get to housing. And then we also have to worry about what happens when there is housing built and people can't get into it. So that is one of the other things that is very prohibitive to folks, is that I can build a whole bunch of affordable housing, but if you don't make 3 times the amount of rent, you don't have a 650 credit score, you don't have the references, you're not able to even access that housing. So working with property owners to look at what their criteria is, bringing that conversation to the forefront of the community again, because we keep ignoring that part of the conversation. And we can't ignore it because let's be real, in the last few years, we've only been able to build 2,500 units because it costs a lot of money to build housing. We are not going to be able to build 7,000 units a year for the next 10 years. That is unrealistic. And then in addition, making sure that programs like Madison Area Community Land Trust, which does do housing loans for persons at a lower income level who cannot afford some of the more expensive housing, they get money to bring the housing costs down and then sell it, keep it on a land use restriction agreement so that house stays affordable even when that is sold. The Own It program is great to get people the knowledge and information to be able to.
That is your time.
Oh.
All right. I was giving you both a little bit like 5 seconds over, but I'm like, oh, listen, I'm over here just reading, just drinking coffee. Let me just shout out my Tabitha Brown mug that I got from Target. I just love this mug. I do want to just quickly remind folks that Early voting is open right now. You can vote early in Madison through November. I think Wisconsin period across the state through November 3rd. You can always check out where you vote just by Googling like My Vote Wisconsin, or you can go to the city of Madison, look at our clerk's page. But please, if you have not voted already, y'all, and you are eligible to vote, I expect lines to be long on election day. If you know your schedule gets a little wild, or you're responsible for carrying your kids to and from school that day, or work can get a little hectic, get out there and vote early. This is an important election for tons of reasons, especially reasons that impact Black women, especially, and the work that we do. So please get out there and vote early. That way you don't allow, or none of the hiccups that happen when you just have a busy life get in the way of your ability to vote on election day. So you can vote early through November 3rd, and I will grab the link and jump it in the chat. All right, so this is my last question, but I believe Jasmine is going to have 1 to 2 questions, and then we'll give you both a couple minutes to just say what you like to say to wrap up our discussion. So we will start this one with Dana, then Melissa. How would you build a working relationship? Well, let me just first say, this is absolutely my question. I will be honest. This was not on anything that I was reporting. But as an elected official now, I serve as alder on Madison's Common Council. And I've learned since October 2022, how important relationships are, not just with my colleagues on council, but the relationships built with folks at every level of government before I was even alder. I am so thankful that I did that, because you get to learn how things impact us. Like, housing is just not a Madison issue. For example, the county and the state and our federal government play such a role in our ability to do affordable housing in Madison. So, okay, I just want to be honest. That was my question, my personal question. All right. So, starting with Dana, 3 minutes or less. How would you build a working relationship with elected leaders in the city, county, and state to build on your solutions to increase affordable housing and small business development for folks of color across the county?
So a lot of those relationships have already been built. So I have working relationships because for the last 30 years, I've been doing the work of the county. So from the beginning of my time as a working adult here in our community, everything that I do intersects with government. And so, being able to work with the variety of different spaces and people and different administrations. So, when I first came in, Paul Soglin was still mayor. That was at the very beginning, right? That was in the 90s. And then, being able to have relationships with that staff, moving on to Sheslevich staffs, Sue Bauman, so there's so many different people that come in and through. But when you are doing the work of the county and you are intersecting with people on a day-to-day basis because you are out there solving problems, you have to build those relationships. I'm on a variety of different committees and task force, again, throughout 30 years. So these are people that that if I have not started a relationship with, I just reach out to and I start talking to, because there's nothing that we in our community can't get through if we are all concentratedly talking through the issues and trying to find solutions together. And that's one of the beauty of being someone that has been in the community doing this work, is that you've been able to see how each of the different layers of government intersect with each other, and how it is that they manage through the programs. So it's not good enough to be able to say, well, this person knows me and they've known me for so many years, so I have their endorsement. So that's great. I'm glad you have that. But it is about the work that you do with these people. And I've been doing that work with these people to make sure that programs, services, initiatives, task force move forward. So I would continue the work that I've already been doing, because I don't I don't stop making relationships, because when you're in the fields of work that I've been in, which is housing services, um, you have to have those relationships in order to get your work done.
Thanks, Dana. All right, Melissa, how would you build a working relationship with elected leaders in the city, county, and state to build on your solutions to increase affordable housing and small business development for folks of color across the county?
Yeah, so I know it's so important that we bring together for-profit, nonprofit, and government entities from all across Dane County in order to keep our focus on how it is that we're going to move Dane County forward, how we're going to address housing and small business development, as you've mentioned, and so many other needs that we have in our community. We know that each of these local governments has their own priorities, and that they know their communities in their hearts. And I have built and uh, cultivated and uh, I'm really proud of the relationships that I have and with our local electeds at all levels, whether it's towns, villages, cities, local elected officials, folks that are serving on boards and commissions in their communities, in addition to state lawmakers and folks in our federal delegation. That is how it is that we move forward and we bring barriers down. When folks have sharp elbows, it does make it harder. And it's a little bit more challenging to be able to get things done. So, working as a county executive to bring people to the table, identify the why we are here, and to get that commitment to move forward, to move that ball forward in the best interest of all of our communities is how we're going to have more success. And being able to continue to work with our local electeds and other elected officials in the way that I have. I mean, I know that you guys have participated in many of the roundtable conversations that I have put together over the years with elected officials across Dane County, and look forward to continuing to do that. In addition, making sure that we're looking around the room and thinking about who's not there, and who do we need to encourage to be able to be at that table, to make sure that we have all of the voices that we need in order to address the real challenges that we have, as well as to be able to protect what it is that makes our community so very special.
Thank you. All righty. So Jasmine's just going to ask a question, and then we'll allow you both some time to just share what you like to share with voters who are preparing to vote or have already voted or taking my heed to vote early. But I do want to just say thank you both for your partnership, whether I was an elected or my role in the Progress Center or just out in the community doing something, keeping myself busy. So I appreciate both of your partnership in various aspects. All right, Jasmine. So Jasmine's question, we will start with Melissa, and then we will Dana will take it next.
Yeah, so I would love to know how you both plan to regularly connect with community members and entrepreneurs, and could this look like hosting networking events that would aim to bring together small business owners and local officials in one room to connect?
Yeah, Jasmine, you're singing my song. This is something that I have been doing for um, decades and continue to do that. As I mentioned in my previous answer to Sabrina, we absolutely need to have more time with people face to face, and being able to bring together business owners, entrepreneurs, uh, the philanthropic community, as well as government, to be able to identify how it is that we can do better in removing barriers and lifting up success. And we have amazing chambers all across Dane County. They need to be part of that. MadRep, in addition, has that big the big umbrella look, and knowing that we have these amazing partners, but it's very infrequent that we're actually convening and spending that time together. And yes, you have a commitment that is certainly something that is important to me, that I continue to do, because I do know that, as I said earlier, when women are able to thrive, our community does better, our kids do better, our main streets do better, and it is clear that we have not had the space for people to be able to share their voices, identify what the real barriers are, and make adjustments to how it is that we're providing resources and lifting one another up, so that there is more success.
Thank you. And I didn't give a time, so we'll just use the time from the last question, which was 3 minutes. So, Melissa, you're at about a little bit over a minute and a half. If you wanted to add anything else,
I feel like I'm done.
okay, no worries. I want to be just sure. All right. So, Dana, Jasmine, if you wouldn't mind repeating your question for Dana.
Yeah. So, how do you plan to regularly connect with community members and entrepreneurs face to face? And could that include hosting regular networking events that would aim to bring together those community members, small business owners, and any other local elected officials?
Yeah. So one of the things that I want to make sure that we're doing is um, connecting with folks face to face, and that can be monthly coffee chats. Those are great. I've been to those with elected officials, and that's a really powerful place for people to come. And you can do those all across the county. Networking events are amazing, and also an open door policy. Right. So, I mean, the one thing um, that I've heard a lot from people is one of the things that they connect with me on is that I am very accessible to them. And anytime that someone needs to get a hold of me, they send something out and then we connect about it. So making sure we're not doing legislation via press release. Instead, we're in the community talking about things so that we don't have to worry about how people are connecting because we're already in the community connecting. And that's the beauty of the work that I've already been doing in this community is I don't worry about connecting with people because I am connected. I am out in the community. These are people that hear from me. I don't even have the platform that a lot of folks have had in our community, and they know the work that it is that we do because I'm in the community talking to people about it. So it's not going to be a hands-off administration. It's going to be an administration that centers itself and its work with the people and not with the idea that there are elites that only get certain things and certain accesses, but that everybody should have the same access to our elected officials. And they don't have to wait till a networking event. If they want to come talk to me, then they come talk to me. And that's how that should work because we are beholden to the folks in our community. I would love to see a very rigorous social media program where we have a lot of things like live streams talking about things. I would love to be able to see spaces where it is rote and routine, where this is where the Dane County Executive is going to be every Thursday. Here's where I'm at. Come see me. Come and talk to me. Because the more spaces that we are at to allow for access, the more that people will feel comfortable engaging in our government and our processes, build trust with our programs. There are people that will opt out of our programs because they don't have trust in our systems. And the only way that we can build that trust is to be in space with people. And so that is the hallmark of what it is I do now. And I'll continue that as a county executive.
Thank you both. Since I love to just, hold people to their words for both of y'all. So y'all want to be all hands on. Y'all want to be talking and having
Yes.
coffee. You didn't mention the day. So the Thursday, election day, is always a Tuesday. So Jasmine and I are going to schedule a Thursday coffee right back here online for whomever is elected our county executive. We will also invite other electeds to the discussion.
So
So,
the Thursday after, unfortunately, I'm traveling for my grandmother's funeral. So I will
oh
not.
my, I'm so sorry, Dana. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry to hear that.
I'm
Um,
sorry, friends.
so we can also have someone's right. So if someone is not able to make it, you can always send somebody in your place, and we will treat that person just as well as we would treat our next county executive. So I'll give you both a moment to just make any notes about what you might want to share to wrap up. but I've been to tons of forums, and the wrap up is normally general for all Dane County folks, which I understand, I get it. But I really would love you all to speak directly to Black women. That is our target audience. The folks that we serve, we of course we're not just serving folks for entrepreneurship, but we deal with some days are really, really tough because, again, it might be someone who is living outside who has not heard back from a shelter. It may be someone who thought they were going to get help for their housing. Something happens, and they're really on facing a mental health crisis because some of the stress. We get entrepreneurs who feel played sometimes locally and not listened to. We get folks who we're dealing with some like really tough stuff, and we also are dealing with joy though. We get to celebrate, for example, when Stephanie went viral for her earrings, for example, or we get to celebrate Latia, dropping her first book, Nicole dropping her first book. And so we get to celebrate too, but we're also dealing with some sad times. So please make any notes you like, and then you'll both have, let's just say, 2 minutes to wrap up. So we'll start with Dana, and then, or I think we started with, so at least on my notes, we have Dana and then Melissa. Um, so yeah, so again, folks, we did put in the chat, if you have not voted and you're just curious about your voter details, you can just literally go to myvote.wi.gov. You can even look at your own voter history. You're like, man, if I have I really been out here, voting or not? You can look at your own voter history, but more importantly, you can find where you are, which location is closest to you to vote at. And then you can find, if you're like me, you want to wait till election day and get up, be sure you look for where your place to vote at is at for you on election day, because they may look a little different than where you can vote early at. So yeah, so myvote.wi.gov, and you'll find all your voter information. I think that's all I gotta say. I appreciate you both for coming and kicking with us this morning. I am literally about to make as y'all are talking, I'm gonna save my date so I don't put anything on my calendar. But Dana, then Melissa, at 2 minutes or less, whatever you like to share, especially with the Black women that we serve.
So, thank you for having us on. I appreciate the opportunity to talk, and for the Black women that are watching this. So I've been doing work with you for my entire existence here. The very first program that I started because I couldn't get Black mothers into housing. When I went to Porchlight, we talked about how it is to expand access to housing in that space because, again, Black women weren't a part of those conversations. When I came to the Rape Crisis Center, Black women and Black trans women in particular are some of the most impacted by sexual violence, but were the least served here. Since we have changed that trajectory. Everything that I do is to expand access, and understanding that I, as a Black woman, also need that access. I've worked my entire life to expand Black access specifically for Black women. That is again a part of everything that I do, including my theater life. I co-created a Black theater festival. I focus my art on Blackness and Black women and elevating our stories. When I did the pleasure activism spaces this year with Dr. Sammy Shock, again, Black women were a part of that centering of those spaces. So all of the spaces that I do, I make sure that those who are most impacted are the ones that are most elevated, and Black women are the most impacted in so many spaces, including our criminal legal space, making sure that we are taking a look at all of those statistics, talking to law enforcement, Dane County Jail. Everything I do is about expanding access to Black women. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Melissa, in 2 minutes and 10 seconds or less, what would you like to share directly to the folks we serve?
Yeah, so thank you, Sabrina, for making today happen and for being able to pivot so that we can all celebrate our future president later today. I am super excited to be able to vote for Kamala and Tammy and fair maps in the state of Wisconsin and against racist and sexist constitutional amendments that are on the ballot. Folks need to do their homework. This election is so very important for all folks, including Black women, especially Black women. I'm thrilled to be a candidate for Dane County Executive because I know that we need unapologetic, strong leadership in order to continue to move Dane County forward, as well as to address some of the generational challenges that we have here in Dane County that are in particular affecting our Black women and children. We should not be on the Kids Forward report time and time again. Seeing that we are the worst place for Black women and children to be. And it is vitally important that we have all folks at the table that in order to be able to address these challenges. We need to be okay with being uncomfortable as we navigate our way through this. And I have a track record of doing that. I'm going to continue to do that. And I know that it's not something that one person does alone. It's about partnerships. And it is also something that doesn't just happen overnight. So we need to be gritty and stick with it. So let's make sure that we all show up, that we vote early or have our voting plan on election day, that we do our homework on all the items on the ballot, the constitutional amendment, a number of referendums, this special election, and all the other very important folks that are there, because certainly as we are thinking about what it is that our nation and our state look like, being the county executive in
Okay.
partnership with.
Okay, Melissa. All righty. I hate cutting y'all off because y'all was I got some great to say, but
Mhm.
All righty. So Dana, if you could share your website address once more, and Melissa, if you wouldn't mind sharing yours once more as well. Dana.
DanaForDane.com, same on Facebook and Instagram.
And Melissa.
And melissaagard.com. And thank you very much, Sabrina, again for having this.
You're very welcome. And don't forget, we will be back with our new Dane County executive or someone on their behalf on Thursday after Election Day. I will not be getting up with them at 8 a.m. I'm going to shoot for more of a 10 a.m. That way I would have gone to a local coffee house versus my in-home coffee house. So thanks again. Jasmine, if you want to say anything before we wrap it up.
Yeah, I just want to thank both of you for taking the time to answer our questions today and interacting with our network. And I look forward to getting some people in the office that are going to do some great things. So,
yay. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good rest of the day. I'm going to end this. Peace.